This has been a wildly successful launch, even by Call of Duty video game standards, which frankly, I'm not that surprised by, and I think they've earned it. And looking at our own Discord, because we've gone through 5 launches of yearly titles now in our own little small but vibrant and extremely humble community. This is the most like unanimously well-received game since we've started this podcast in our own Discord
for sure
or community. I have never seen a game that is this just ubiquitously people like it. Like everyone seems to like it in our Discord, which has never happened before.
You're right. I don't even know if I've seen anybody say they don't like it yet.
Yeah, which is crazy because there are usually people, and our Discord is a bunch of Call of Duty players, so it's very likely, or it's at least a good representation of the COD player base at large. And how that goes usually is people that like Treyarch games are going to love the Treyarch game. People that like IDub games are going to hate the Treyarch game. And then the 5% of people who are Sledgehammer players don't exist. So, or they don't talk. I don't know. But that's usually how this goes. And this year, everyone seems to like it.
Yeah.
Like the Treyarch fanboys like it a lot. And I would say I'm that. If I was anything, I'd be a Treyarch fanboy. That would be me. Whereas Tanner, I would say, is like an Infinity Ward fanboy. And he was going into this game.
At one point I was,
himself.
Hasn't been for a while.
Well, yeah. But anyway, fully expecting to hate this game. And we kind of both were doomer pilled after beta, because we were like,
the beta was terrible.
I don't know, man. Yeah, like this is not looking good. But now that the game's out, you're very pleasantly surprised. The muzzle smoke and stuff, like Neb, and also across inputs. I'm hearing, like, who plays keyboard? Like Neb has been saying keyboard and mouse feels really good.
You've been saying that.
Mm-hmm. I think some other
there aren't
people
many left.
Who play Ben.
Besides that, I can't really think of any who has said that. But yeah, that's basically it.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of like K-Bammers being like, yeah, this game actually feels good on keyboard and mouse. And then on controller, I'm one of them. But controller, I mean, it always feels good in a Call of Duty game. That's no different this year. So controller feels good. Keyboard and mouse feels good. People who like IDub games like this game. People who like Treyarch games like this game. This is a very positively received game by like the broader COD base at large, which is kind of insane, and I've never seen it since we started this podcast.
Even like Twitter and like Instagram, like those type of comments about it, even those are positive. It's very weird. I think this is the best received COD title, I think, since we started the podcast, for sure, overall.
Mm-hmm.
It probably is the most fun, really.
I think so.
It's
honestly.
Yeah. I mean, MW19 had really, really good aspects of it and then really bad aspects. Like MW19 had excellent gunplay, but then a lot of other things that were bad, like time to kill. And then going into Cold War for me just felt like a free-to-play game that had a 1-year development cycle because that's what it had. So that game felt horrific to me. And then, going into Vanguard, Vanguard was hated from the start because of the setting, to be fair. So it just never...
Deservedly.
Yeah. And it ended up being a bad game. It was a really bad game. And then after Vanguard, is that when we got MW2?
That was MW2,
I guess it was.
I believe,
MW2 was mostly hated other than the few LARPers. The few old LARPers, and then MW3 was hated by a lot because it's just an expansion pack, even though MW3 was a really, really good game. And then after that, I mean, this has been the best game. Literally, there are like 2 issues with the game for me right now. It's the maps are fucking dog shit, and that's not going to be solved other than getting Nuketown. So at least we're getting Nuketown. Just won't queue for regular 6s at all anymore.
Tomorrow. Yeah, exactly.
Face Off has grown on me a lot too. Face Off has been much more fun than playing the dog shit maps. Like even the maps that I thought were good, like Subsonic now, don't like it. Don't think it's a good map. The only map that I think continues to perform better for me is Skyline. Every time I play Skyline, I think, this is just my favorite 6s map in the game. Especially on...
You like it better than Payback?
I think so, yeah. I've played it a lot more. Crazy. Yeah. Payback's good too, but yeah, I think Skyline's number one. And then what else was I saying? So that's the issue, or the maps, and then the other thing is the recon specialty.
Yeah.
Once they fix that, there aren't many problems. Like, they fixed all of the gunplay mechanics that we've had problems with the last couple of years. Like I said, muzzle smoke. There's a lot of screen shake on some of the guns by default, but I like don't have any guns leveled up, so I don't have any of the meta attachments anyway, so I think that'll be solved. But just like having a really fun AK in this game alone, like the AK-74 in this game is one of the most satisfying COD guns I've ever used, honestly. Like, that gun already, at level 0, I could use it with no attachments, iron sights, and that might end up being like a top 10 gun of all time for me. It's so fun and satisfying to use. So, and then all those little things that Treyarch is good at, like the metal pop-ups on your screen, the showcase works. You're an idiot and can't figure out how to use it, but the showcase works. You click on somebody's name, then it shows their showcase, and then it also pulls up a whole other menu where then you don't have to click on names. You just scroll through with your mouse or controller, and it shows all their showcases. You can go to the left and right. You can look at their medals. You can look at all of these different things. That's all back. All of those features. You know, we have map voting in. So, yeah, like all of those little satisfying aspects of a COD game, like when you kill somebody, feels good. Feels really good.
Yep. Yeah. So I think the best way I could explain why this game is being received so well, deservedly so, by the way, in my opinion, and Tanner's also, if that wasn't obvious. Like, I agree, this is a great, great, great game. It has something I don't think we've seen in a very long time, certainly not once since the podcast is launched, which is that it has the core mechanics are good. It has a good solid core, and that is always the most important thing. So the hit reg, I mean, could be better, but it's like, whatever, fine. The sound could be better, but it's pretty good. Gunplay is good. Attachment system's good. Like the movement is great. Things just work pretty well, and the core fundamental things that are the visibility's good. So like core day one shit is good. And most COD games in the last 5 years have not checked all the fundamentals boxes, unfortunately. They just haven't. MW19, visibility, F.
Yeah.
Game sucks. Doesn't matter what else you do. If I can't see people, the game sucks. Period. So it doesn't matter how great the gunplay is, or how cool the guns sound, or whatever. None of it matters if I can't see people. So like that, all these things, all these fundamentals, they've actually figured out. God bless. And then also, you have all the polish and cool stuff, the bells and whistles on top of it. So you have, like Tanner was talking about, the showcase. We're back to the classic Prestige, which has got me playing so much more than I expected it to reel me in. It's reeled me in. I'm really excited to keep playing so I can get max Prestige again. Ooh, what am I going to spend my next token on? I don't know. I'm going to have to go look. It's like got me excited. I want a Prestige again. I'm doing dailies on week 2 of a new COD game. I have not done that since we started the podcast, ever. I would do dailies to get max level, and then it doesn't matter, and I'm never even looking at it again. But I'm like, ooh, what are my dailies? I'm so excited. Oh, I have to get... Well, I hate the dailies, actually. That's one complaint I have. They're entirely too difficult sometimes. Not difficult, but time-consuming. Like, one of mine is get 10 score streak kills. The score streaks kind of suck for getting kills. I don't want to do that. It's taking me too long. Or get 5s, whatever. Anyways, I'm like looking at dailies again. The showcase looks cool. The medals look awesome. The calling card challenges make sense and they look cool. And I can go into my customized whatever menu, and it actually makes sense and it's navigable.
Yeah.
So it has core mechanics, and it has like the cool cosmetics and polish on top of that. And when you combine those things, what do you know? And on top of that, also, it has some innovation, but they didn't get too crazy. Omni movement, Big deal. It's very cool. They talked a lot about how much they like themselves for doing it. That's kind of it. That's kind of all the innovation. And I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm saying that as a positive. Let's not overreach too much. We all remember Warzone 2. Oh, let's innovate a couple ways. We're going to add strongholds. We're not going to let you pick your own perks. We're going to add AI. We're going to add black sites. Oh, whoopsies. Maps ass, games ass. It's the worst. You can't sprint while playing anymore. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me because they tried to innovate way too much. Remember the 2v2 gulags? Weren't those fun?
No, I forgot about that.
No, they weren't fun. Remember when the Juggernaut jailer guy would come out and just RNG coin flip the match for someone instead of having the flag? I mean, way too much innovation. We've way overreached. We didn't do that with BO6. We did one innovation. It's called Omni Movement. A couple other little things here and there, but in terms of like very big changes to the game, they did one thing. So if it was bad, which I don't know how more movement really could be, you could think of something, but like, if it was bad, it still wouldn't have torpedoed the whole game because it wasn't a bunch of things at the same time like MW2 Warzone 2 was. But luckily, it was a good innovation. So we have that also on top of it. And what do you know? It's the recipe for a great game. The game works, and it has all the bells and whistles. And we haven't seen that since the podcast launched. I can't think of a game.
Yeah. It feels like the most fully polished release COD we've had in a long, long time. Like MW2 felt polished, or MW3 felt polished overall on launch too, but then this game has all of those other things like the calling cards and whatnot. And one thing I forgot about the calling cards too is like in Treyarch games, it'll say at the bottom of it on the calling card itself what the calling card is called. So it's like you see like the name for it, so then you can like look at somebody's showcase and you're like, oh, that's why that guy's running that calling card. It's for that. Yeah. Just like a bunch of little stupid things like that.
Tiny little things. Yep.
And that's what makes a game good. So, and the next year should probably be even better, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as COD launches go, I think this is the best launch of a COD game I've ever played. Like this is the best week one I've ever had. MW3 is in second place. It's a fairly close second, honestly.
Yeah, MW3 is a good game.
MW3 core game also feels really good and is really fun. And the maps in MW3 were much better on launch than the maps of this game are. But what MW3 lacked was pretty much any real innovation. Actually, the perk system was innovative and very cool. I liked that better as well, frankly. But it didn't have Omni Movement, which I do think is I think it's a bigger deal now than I originally kind of talked about. Because being able to sprint sideways and backwards is actually kind of crazy. And once you start getting used to it, there are you can like get yourself out of some binds with Omni Movement in a way that you really can't without it, obviously. So like that is in the BO6 corner. And then also, again, the bells and whistles, the prestige system, classic prestige coming back. What's it called? Customizable reticles coming back. Being able to see people's showcase, being able to see the calling card and read them. Play of the game working. By the way, every single game reliably, and the end game screen, the little winner circle, like all of this little polished theater mode, which I don't care about, but that's cool. And all of this is to say nothing about a really fun and cool zombies game. Also, that is also in the BO6 corner. On launch, it's fun. It's good. It's not perfect. It could have been better, but it's fun and good. MW3 did not have that. No other game had that besides Cold War, but Cold War had its own launch issues. So is this the best launch ever in a COD game? I haven't played every COD game, so I can't say ever, but that I've ever played, easily, far and away, the best launch ever. Will it be the best COD game of all time? It's far too early to be saying that, and MPR plus JKN you need to settle down. You have to settle down. It's too early to say. Too early to say. There are a lot of months for them to just piss, shit, and fart all over the game.
Do they actually think
it.
that? Did they say that?
Yeah, of course they do. Because they're children. So like, it's possible this will go down as the best COD game I've ever played. And it's looking that way so far, but it is way too early to say.
Yeah.
It is way too early to say. Because keep in mind, we're done with MW3. We've gotten the whole year, and it was a strong year, dude. Especially when it comes to the Warzone integration and stuff. It was a pretty strong entire year. MW3 was a very good game. Will BO6 remain as strong as it is now, post-integration and post 6-month lull? We'll certainly see, but it's way too early to say now. But this is the strongest start we've ever had, and I'm like really excited. And I was pissed we had a podcast to do.
I'm kind of
keep gaming.
I'm kind of upset Warzone's coming out so early now.
You're having that much fun in the MP, huh?
Well, I just know that like once Warzone comes out, Warzone ultimately is always more fun, even if it's bad for me. So it's like I'm just not going to play multiplayer after, probably. Unless it's really, really, really bad and they make no changes to Urzikstan and Area 99 is awful, which it looks like it will, and there are no other Resurgence maps, and maybe I will keep playing multiplayer. But yeah, I kind of almost wish Warzone was a month away or so still.
For me, it's going to be as simple as this. If no one else is on, I'm playing multiplayer. But once the boys get on, it's time to hop on Warzone. So I'll still be able to play both and get enjoyment out of both for a while.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'm not as worried. But yeah. What else was I going to say? I don't remember. But yeah, like we're also getting ranked big map.
Ranked big map. Yep.
Yeah, it's looking good, man. The future is looking really bright.
That's what they say.
Which is not a feeling I've had about Call of Duty in quite a while, honestly. So I'm pretty goddamn excited.
The future's now. That's what I always say.
Yeah, surely. So anyway, so yeah, the original, by the way, that tangent was brought on by, once again, BO6 is breaking all kinds of records. It like business records.
Yeah, it was like most players, most hours, most matches in a launch weekend ever. And that's because of Game Pass. If it weren't on Game Pass, it probably wouldn't have been the #1 player count, but so many people are on it because of Game Pass, which is cool.
Which is cool, yeah, that's great.
And they know they'll probably make more money because of selling bundles and whatnot through that.
Yeah, and if you're like, teetering, if you're like like I said again, a 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 maybe KD, you should want more players, because the more people are in the pool, the stricter SBMM can be. So it's not going to just take your 1.3 and force you into Scump's lobby. So that's another kind of thing to think about. But yeah, game's really, really fun.
Yeah.